Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome one and all. I hope you're all benefiting from the slightly shorter countdown. I have to say, I am within the peach-scented, floral, and enunciated, beautiful boudoir of the Sally Inkster Find Brand New show. I think you'll find this is the Sally Inkster Brand New show. And today she's going to teach me a little bit because apparently there are two types of branding. Now you've got personal branding and you've got personal values rather, and you've got brand values. And I didn't know there was a difference. Would you explain all to me in words of one syllable or less?
I don't think I can do it in one syllable or less, but I'll try.
Sorry. Righto.
Okay, so values. It's a huge subject because it's all about us. Our values come from what country we were born in, what family we were born into, what religion we were brought into, how we were brought up, how our parents did various things. And a lot of our values come from that.
So I'm going to take you further back because I am a bear of little brain. What is a value?
A value is it's a noun, usually. Okay. That explains something you want to live by. So values give you direction. They give you a moral compass. They explain how you live in the world. They also dictate to a certain extent who our friends are, who we get on with, who we can have conversations with, and who we agree with. Because our values are so personal that quite often we don't even realize we have them. And the amount of people who, if you say, what are your values, will go family.
Yeah, okay. Do you know what? That's the first thing that came to my mind when you said that.
Okay. So when you say family,
right,
I want you then to describe to me what family means.
Oh, right. I've always digressing too far, and I'll be as quick as I can. Because I'm adopted, I feel like I've made my own family, and therefore my family consists of my wife, my son, my daughter, and therefore for me it's about cohesion, about holding the whole thing together so that we are the great force against the world and we survive despite it.
Okay, so that's a brilliant one, because family can mean different things to different people. So it might mean support. Okay, that may okay, so that may be what family means. Family may mean conflict to some people, competition to other people. I mean, if you've been brought up in a family where there are 3 siblings and your dad is really into competitive games,
then
every time you get together as a family is competitive. And you may love or dislike that, but it's something you've been brought up with. Family may mean unconditional love. Family may mean as you is invented, brought together, made. So family is a word, but you have to look at what that word means to you to understand what your value is around it.
So everyone's values can be quite different, really.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you're doing a personal brand, that's very important, because if you put somebody's strengths and then put the same person's values, that just in its 6 words, 10 words, 20 words, whatever it is, makes them unique. Because nobody will have the same strengths with the same values in the same order for the same reason.
Okay.
So even before you've begun doing anything else about personal brand, you are unique. Which is good. That is good.
Well, yes, of course, because if it's unique, that means it's tied solely to you. Now, from a business perspective, that makes it a lot easier to promote you, I would have thought.
Yeah, it does. So your values can be a moral compass. So if you believe in honesty and trustworthiness and color, and somebody comes to you and say you're a marketeer and says, okay, can you market my business for me? I'm a trader in sort of it's not quite illegal, but it's a bit on the borderlines. And I like to use brown and black because it's quite secretive and we don't tell everybody the truth about it. But could you market it for me? you would sort of go,
I would say no.
Yeah, well, you would. But some people might say, well, how much are you going to pay with me? And if the money was high enough, they might say yes. But further down, 6 months down that path, they will go, oh my goodness, I wish I had never, ever said yes. And if they had known what their values were, they would have said no, because it will make me feel awful. Even if that money is worth a lot now, it will make me feel dreadful. And I won't do it.
And there's, I mean, it's going to sound stupid, but there's no amount of money that pays for integrity.
Exactly. And integrity is one of your, people say, is that a value? But in actual fact, integrity is standing up for the values you have. So integrity covers it all, not just a value standing on its own. So if you have honesty as one of your values, then you have to be, you have to have integrity to be honest. Okay, so it's sort of a coverall for your values is integrity, because having those values and sticking to those values is integrity.
Yes, it is about sticking to those values. It means a bit like having a Big Mac. Doesn't matter where in the world you eat it, it always tastes the bleeding same. In the same way, it doesn't matter where you find me, I'm always the same because I have my integrity intact.
Absolutely. And so we talk about personal values now. So your personal values will change. As I say, you have some from your childhood, your culture, your religion.
Well, yes.
That will stick with you. That you may go, actually, I don't want those anymore. I'm going to rebel. I don't want them.
This is a bit like watching Little Britain. You watched it back then and you thought it was hysterical. Now you look at it and it makes you feel deeply uneasy. It's the same thing. Yes.
And so our values can change over a period of time. But quite often when I'm working with somebody for personal values, I'll say, choose 10, get to your top 10, and then we'll whittle that down to the 3 that you're going to work with now. Because if you try and work to 10 values all the time, you'll spend your life going, oh my God, this is so difficult. Am I living to that value? Am I living that to this value? Whereas if you stick to 3, it's a quick check. Yes, that hits in with my values. Yes, that hits in with my values. That's okay. That isn't. And then when you either change job or you change circumstances, or, you know, your children have got older, your values can alter within those top 10 you have. But for everybody, whether you're in a career, whether you're running a business, whether you're part of a partnership, it's a really good idea to identify your personal values. And then when you're in a relationship and you're thinking of getting married or having children or making some more sort of commitment, it's really good to be able to talk about, what are your values? Oh, well, I really value honesty. Oh, that's not one of mine. That's going to cause confrontation and confusion as you go forward in time.
I'm going to put a little fly in the ointment. I don't think everybody is entirely truthful about what their values are.
I don't think they're entirely truthful because I don't think they've ever done the work to find out what they are.
So what you're saying is they may not even have considered it yet.
No, exactly. They wouldn't have considered it. You know, you may say, one of my values is empathy. And one of my values is balance, because I think, well, fairness. So balance and fairness. Not always
fairness, mine, but I'm not very good at empathy. You see, I get it secondhand. I have to watch other people I trust and then mimic them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so again, but because I'm empathetic, I can have a relationship with you. I don't need you to be empathetic. Okay. But if we were talking about honesty, I would need to have a good working relationship or personal relationship with you. I would need you to be honest. So some of our values we have to do as a two-way thing. Some of our values we can just have for ourselves.
Now, it is my observation that, and this is only looking for myself, and I firmly believe if that happens with one person, it probably happens with millions of others. The only way that you can be happy that someone is honest or has that as a value is not just by their saying stuff, but by their doing things. And the doing things often have to be miniature little tests. And the miniature, we're going to meet at 5. You're there at 5. I would like you if you did this with me, we do that together. I'd like you if you didn't do this anymore, we don't do that anymore. Things like that. They're all little tests, and over time, it kind of builds up your almost your honest register. And when it gets to a certain level, you go to yourself without even thinking about it. Well, the next thing this person's going to say, I will take it as read that it's honest because of all those little tests.
Exactly.
I'm sure everybody does a variation of that.
Yeah, they do, but they don't actually realize what you're doing. But a value has to have followed up with action. You can't just value grabbing, a word out of thin air unless it's followed by action and you can show it.
All this sounds perfectly feasible for personal values.
It does. But then you have to have brand values.
Now, this is where it gets a bit confusing for me.
It does get a bit confusing because the value that you are going to be talking about is something your business has. Now, your business, although even if you're a sole entrepreneur and you're on your own, your business isn't you. It's part of you and it comes from the same family tree as you do. But if you explain your business as being a sibling, okay, so you and your sibling come down the same family tree. So you've had the same culture, you've had the same upbringing per se. But then your brother about certain things, or your sister, not you in particular, but generally one's brothers or sisters or siblings may well have some different values than you do. Okay. And so you can look at it as my business has this value because it wants to do this for its clients. And it's a different way to look at them. And I have less values to choose from because any noun you can choose from as a value for yourself, but less of them are pertinent to business in a wider extent. It's sort of a bigger set of words that you could use all clumped together under one. And so it is how you how you want to make your clients feel. Do you want to make them feel protected? Do you want them to make them feel joyous? Do you want to make them feel safe? Do you want them to make them feel adventurous? So you're looking at different things that you're trying to do. So when I'm working with a client, I do personal values and then I do business values around the business part, and then we put them all together. And you can do that if there's two of you running a business, then you can both have your personal values, but you can agree on business values.
Right. But the business values are probably going to be more related to how your business interacts with people or other businesses, as opposed to what moral stance it takes.
Exactly. Yes. So some of the headlines I use for a business one, it would be, is the value of your business to empower your clients, or is it for them to have achievement? Is it for them to be competitive, if that's what you're trying to get them to be? So you look at it completely differently. But the important things about values is that it is a compass. And if you don't define that compass, you can go wrong with the kind of clients you have, the niche you go down, and how you treat people.
Right. It's almost like a manifesto of what you're prepared to work with and who should be prepared to work with you.
God, how topical is that?
I thought you'd like it.
Yes.
What I was going to say is the irony is, of course, my business value is to help other people promote their business values, which ironically is precisely what we're doing right now.
Yes, it is. But you do it with a sort of, how would you do it? You are making them powerful.
Yes, I guess so. I'm trying to shine a light onto others.
Yes.
Being in the frame, not really to promote myself, but to make to almost confer upon the values that people have already ascribed to me onto them as well.
Yeah. Whereas you wouldn't describe one of your values as power.
No, God, no.
No. But your business is giving power.
I prefer to think of myself as a catalyst, But yes, yeah. I mean, the dictionary definition of a catalyst is something that takes part in the reaction without being diminished or actually ending up physically taking any part in anything. Having said that, I'm trying to say to guys, yeah, look at me. Don't look at me now. Look at that, or look at that person, or look at what they're doing. So that's my value. But by virtue of doing that, that extemporizes your own value. It sort of enhances your own value.
Yes,
I guess.
Yeah, it does. And it's just you. So if you had some directors, you would all have personal values, but you can't make all those personal values part of the business, because otherwise it would just be too complicated.
Anger's just been promoted to a director, by the way.
Oh, a director. Oh, shh. Shh. Don't tell anybody.
No. Well, no, his value is very much more about empathy than mine is, for instance. He's much better at picking up what people are feeling or responding to than I am. And he's very much more about making sure everybody feels comfortable. Whereas mine is much more about pushing forward and trying to get people to look at that over there.
Yeah. And so two opposing ones actually can work very well together.
Yes. Yeah, he keeps me grounded for that very reason. All right. So look, I'm going to just throw you a little curveball here. If your wife has got, or your partner, I told you it was curveball, has got slightly different value set to yours, not negatively, but just like one's going off 40 degrees that way, the other's going 40 degrees that way, but they're still facing forward, but following a slightly different path. So to give you more color, I'm an empiricist. I don't believe in stuff I can't measure, that I can't touch, that won't submit to a double-blind test, that produces consistency and consistent results. Whereas she's very woo-woo and deals with stuff that's supposed and so on and so forth. But together we do work very well together. But I have to tell myself this is the line I will not cross as far as talking about stuff, because our values are different.
All right, so let's look at the marriage as a business. And both of you probably in your marriage have a value of respect. So you respect where she is, and she respects where you are, and you respect that you're both a bit different. Now, if it was only you who respected her point of view and she didn't respect your point of view, then you would have a conflict there. But because in your marriage you've got this same value of respect, then it works.
So what you're saying is you need to have at least one value that is a complete overlap.
Yes, I think you do if you're in a business or a marriage. There has to be something. But not all values we have do we need the other person to have.
Yes. Okay.
Only some of them, depending on what they are. Some of them need to be reciprocal to that relationship. So if I'm honest,
so I give it, you receive it. If you give it, I receive it.
Yes, exactly. But others are just personally for yourself. And actually, it doesn't overly matter if that other person hasn't got it, because it's just you doing that.
Right.
Yeah. But you will find more of your tribe who have more of your values. I
think the fact that both of us are very actually and metaphorically colourful creatures also brings us, you and I, together, for instance.
Exactly. We have a commonality there, I think.
Absolutely. I would even call it a value. The belief that colour is a very important aspect of everything we do.
Yes, absolutely.
So, guys, I hope you've found this as intriguing. Thank you so much, Sally. I do, and I've said this before, I consider pretty much all our interactions in education department, perhaps the education I should have received much younger, but I didn't see it. But no, this is useful stuff. And if you found this useful, please look for sallyinkster.com.
Yep.
And more information there. Also interact with her on LinkedIn. She'll be delighted to interact with you. There's been lots of great content coming out. Do check that out as well. Some of it is, well, I won't say ground shaking, but it certainly made me wake up to a couple of ideas. And watch out, because we do this weekly. If you've got any ideas and you interact with either of us, either on the way or during while we're filming it, that's great. We'll interact with them as well. But until next week, I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Let's hope the weather holds. And of course, look after that mental health. Bye bye now.
Take care. Bye.